In this video, we will discuss the basic steps in the recruitment process, as well as the sources of candidates for both inside and outside the organization. Here, you see a picture of the recruitment and selection process. The process begins by determining the positions that have to be filled through personnel planning and forecasting. Next, the organization must identify qualified candidates through recruitment of candidates within and outside the company. These candidates then undergo the selection process, which may include such things as interviews and background checks. Once the selection process is complete, then the company reviews the candidates and makes an offer. In today's topic, recruitment, we will cover the first 3 boxes shown here. The rest of the diagram will be covered in the next chapter. Personnel planning is the process of deciding what positions the firm will have to fill and how to fill them. A specific form of personnel planning is called succession planning. Here, organizations are looking at and planning for how they can best replace top management positions if and when the need arises. A key issue in planning is forecasting the overall personnel needs of the organization. Here, one is trying to estimate the size of the staff needed to meet the organization's goals. There are 2 main types of forecasting: trend analysis and ratio analysis. Trend analysis uses previous employment figures to predict future needs. A ratio analysis focuses on the ratio of some causal factor, like sales volume, and the number of employees required. So if the organization wants to increase the sales volume by 5%, how many more salespeople do we need to achieve this? Here is the graphical representation of forecasting. The hospital has previous data on the number of nurses needed based on the number of beds they have in the hospital. Based on this chart, you can see the relationship between the number of beds and the number of nurses needed to care for the patients in those beds. From this data, we can forecast the number of nurses we need as the hospital continues to grow. Once you have determined how many positions are available, you need to decide if you can staff these open positions from within. To make this decision, the organization must know the knowledge, skills, and abilities of their employees. Organizations can use qualification inventories, which are manual or computerized records listing employees' education, career and development interests, language, special skills, etc. They can go one step further and create personnel replacement charts that show the present performance and promotability for each position's potential replacement. Here is an example of a replacement chart for a top management position. As you can see, there are 3 people that are next in line for the promotion, but some are more qualified than others. For example, if the division vice president were to resign today, then Jones is the only one who is qualified to take over the job immediately. The other 2 possibilities still need further development or are not promotable. Information like this can be very helpful for organizations in planning for things like retirement or in reacting quickly to an unforeseen resignation. It is interesting to note that there are computer programs that help organizations maintain information on their employees and help them construct these types of replacement charts. These are known as human resource information systems and can be used to track the qualifications of hundreds or even thousands of employees. Many organizations cannot survive without hiring externally. Thus, companies must also try to determine the supply of qualified individuals outside the organization. There are 2 major determinants companies can use. First is the expected unemployment rate. When the unemployment rate is low, it means that few people are out of a job. This translates to fewer people to fill vacant positions. In response, an organization will have to increase their recruitment strategies in order to fill any of their opening positions. However, if the employment rate is up, then there are lots of people looking for jobs, and in some cases, the company can sit back and watch the applications roll in. The second most common way businesses forecast the supply of external candidates is looking at the availability of qualified people in specific occupations such as nursing or information technology.